Hello, 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 hello. Hi, welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep with Squeaky Vinny. And he's licking the sofa again. That's weird. I think he's doing it to cleanse his palate. So welcome, Let Me Bore You to Sleep. My name is Jason Newland. Vinny says hi. The date is Tuesday, the 25th of August 2026. It is 6 minutes past 7 a.m. So I might end up doing a couple of recordings today. There's a nice little silence there, wasn't there? Yeah, and nothing. Still working on the website. I did do something yesterday that was kind of quite interesting for me. I decided to do a deep search for details about my granddad's boxing career, because he was a boxing champion, like amateur boxing champion, before and during the army. Well, before he was in the army, then while he was in the army as well. And I couldn't find anything about the boxing, but there was someone with the same surname but a different initial with a boxing champion, like tournament stuff. So I don't know. I have to ask my dad about that. That might have been his brother. I don't know. But it was from someone from exactly the same area, like Edmonton, Enfield, as my granddad. So I'll tell you what I did find, because none of this is... I'm not going to give information that I shouldn't give online about my granddad, you know. It's all... this is all public knowledge as well. You can find this in the thing online. These are in public records. But what I found interesting is they found out his army number. I was like, wow. Bearing in mind he left the army in about 1937, 38. And his army number was still stored somewhere. It belongs to the block. So he had the same number, which belonged to the block allocated to the Hussars. What's the Hussars? Strongly supporting the story that he served with horses. So he did. He used to. There's pictures. I've seen pictures of him on a horse. Before transferring to the Reconnaissance Corps. I don't know what Hussars is or Reconnaissance Corps. I really don't know. I need to look it up. I didn't notice this. The thing is, okay. Hussars were light cavalry soldiers originating in the 15th century Hungary. Really? But he wasn't hungry, so I don't know. I mean, he had an appetite, but Hussars UK Army. That doesn't make sense. Hussars UK Army. 1930s. Or if I put in history. my laptop's starting to break. The E key, on the keyboard, just isn't working like it should. So it's missing out the E quite often. I have to really kind of keep going back and press it hard. It reminds me of someone I worked with in the first insurance company, and he sat next to me, and he was known as the angry typer, because he would literally type with one finger, which I can't argue with, because I don't type with one finger anymore, but I understand typing and get used to it. I'm not an expert typer, but I can maneuver around because I've been doing it for so long. And I did it for a living, didn't I guess, for a few years. But he used to bang the keyboard with one big, massive finger. Do you know Hellboy? Do you know he's got one hand that's huge and like a normal human hand? Well, he just had one big finger. The rest of his hand was normal. Just one. And he used to bang the keyboard. He used to shake the building. It's very difficult to concentrate on my phone call when all I hear was bang, bang, bang. And it wasn't quick either. It'd be there for like an hour just typing in someone's name. But he was angry with it as well. Like, all he could hear, it's just, come on, man, calm down. And he's like, I don't know why I'm not getting any sales. Because you're scaring everyone. Yeah, but if I was that scary, how come I'm not got sacked? Because they're too scared to sack you. The management hide from you. Do you not see they're under the table over there? People used to come up and give him their sales. It's like just, it was only a little bloke. It wasn't big, but that finger was intimidating. That big, huge, scary Hellboy finger. Yeah, so that was the angry typist. And sometimes he would, because I befriended him, not on purpose, but accidentally. And I'll talk to anyone, and if you break through, generally most people are nice, generally, or have the ability to be nice. And he was just going through a lot of stuff, that's all. He used to give me a lift home, and I ended up almost being like his counsellor. This is long time before I became a counsellor, but I guess I was quite good at listening. And he just wanted someone to talk to. He was actually a nice bloke. He had to have a car, but it had no roof, and part of the windscreen, the top of the windscreen, had to be shaved down because of his finger. So when he's driving, you see, and no one could sit in the front next to him because otherwise they'd just pretty much get hit with the finger. So he had to sort of sit back in the back of the car. It was a weird situation, but it was okay. Also, never needed to indicate. He used the lights. He just basically just pointed to where he was going to go, and the whole town could see. So yeah. Oh, that's what reminds me. The keyboard being stuck reminds me of that. I'm kind of have to push it hard, and it's a shame because this is the best laptop I've ever had. It's a really good laptop that I got quite a few years back, but it's now, I guess it's worn out because it's had so much use, and I've worn it down to a nub. If only that was the laptop I was talking about. So when I was a kid, don't do that or you'll go blind. Like, no, be honest. Don't do it or it'll end up like a little nub. You'll wear it down. That's what we should have been told. But let's move on. Nothing we can do about it now. The King's Royals Hussars. I want to put in 1930s UK. Search military. Okay. The 11th. Oh, here we go. The 11th Hussars, Prince Albert's own, and the 10th Royal Hussars, Prince of Wales's own, were two prominent cavalry regiments of the British Army during the 1930s. They played significant roles in various conflicts, including both wars. Oh, okay. The 11th Hussar was known for their involvement in the Battle of Preston and Culloden. Fair enough. Well, my granddad was in there in the 1930s anyway, because my granddad was born in 1911. Yeah, 1911. So he would have gone into the army probably at 16. So what's that? 11, 21, 27. So about 1927, my granddad would have gone into the army, and then he came out. He did his service. I think he probably did his 12 years. Got out, and then the war started. It's like as far as I'm aware, that's what happened. But yes, he was in the Hussars. What was the other one he was in? Oh, come on. He was in the Hussars, and then he went into he transferred to the Reconnaissance Corps. Okay, let's have a look at this. What's reconnaissance? Isn't that I thought reconnaissance was kind of like when you're studying something. Like you're in the field and you're I don't know. Like in the movies where they'd be not wearing binoculars, but they'd be like in the bushes with binoculars and studying the movement of the enemy and whatever. I mean, I've kind of done that, but there's no enemy. There wasn't wartime or army thing. It's just someone getting undressed in the window. No, I didn't do that. I didn't sit in the bushes looking through binoculars. I've never done that. Well, I have done it, but I've never done it in a weird way. Although it is quite hard to do it in a non-weird way. But I did it as a kid. I used to have these really rubbish binoculars. They were plastic. And they were binoculars, but they weren't, you could see about it. Magnification would be like minimal. So I would hide in the bushes and see what happened. Nothing much happened. I mean, it was just I looked through the binoculars, and it wasn't really any different from just looking out of my eyes. I mean, technically I was looking at my eyes through the binoculars, but you know what I mean. The magnification was just, I don't know what it was, but they weren't real binoculars, I think. Not really. I did have, I'm not sure if I owned a pair of real binoculars or I've used a real pair of binoculars. That's a different thing altogether, because they're heavy. They used to be, and they used to come in a case, a black case. So maybe it was my dad's binoculars, and you'd get it out and it'd be covered in some kind of cloth, and it'd be heavy, still kind of plasticky, and there'd be like a little turny thing which could make the magnification more magnified, and then you could look in the wrong side and everything's small. That's fun. It's fun also if you're in public. It's really fun, or if you're doing it, you look into the wrong side of the glasses, and just like exclaim, is that the right word? Or it's like, wow, everything's so small. What's going on? These binoculars aren't working. Now, it's better if, when you do that, if there's actually people around, because otherwise it's not funny. It's still funny, but it's still, I think with visual gags, it's better to have an audience, or have at least one person around, because then it's just me doing it on my own. And it's less amusing when I've kind of practiced it multiple times, I've been in my bedroom for, maybe a few weeks, looking down the wrong end of the glasses and putting an expression of complete surprise and being all animated, very much like, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, if only I could. But like an early Charlie Chaplin, I would say. Possibly a bit more talented than Chaplin. I don't want to brag, but not in everything I did, not in all my little sketches I put together as a 10-year-old, but I think with a binocular sketch, the whole like looking through and the wrong end and the surprised expression on my face, and I stepped back, but it was almost like a step back and a dance at the same time. Yeah, very Chaplin-esque. I think that's a correct term. I mean, it doesn't seem fair to really compare myself to Chaplin, because they didn't used to have binoculars when he was around, did they? I don't think. That was a fairly new invention. Maybe they did. I don't know. I do like. There's a song that I don't know if you know this. There's a song that that Charlie Chaplin wrote, that Michael Jackson sung. And it's called "Smile." I really like that song. Smile, even though you're do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, wait a minute. No, that is the right smile. Anyway, it's good. Well, I like it. And Michael Jackson liked it enough to record it. And used to argue with that, because in my opinion, pretty much everything that he recorded was good. It's weird, with Michael Jackson, I don't think I heard a bad song. I mean, you know, there was different levels to his songs, but you know, even through his childhood and through his adulthood, and you know, I wasn't a big fan of Invincible when it first came out, but you know, I ended up loving it as well. But when you compare that to, let's say, the Beatles, some of the songs the Beatles did, I just didn't enjoy. You know, like on their early albums. Yeah, I mean, they're amazing songs, but there's a few that are like, no. Why was this added to the album? I mean, not at the time, because I wasn't alive. Oh, okay, right. The Fusiliers. Not the Is it the Fusiliers? The Renaissance Core. The Renaissance Core. Let's have a look. So, what does it say? The Renaissance Core. Renaissance. Wasn't that like an artistic movement? It was, wasn't it? The Renaissance. Should we have a look in the Renaissance section of the gallery? What is your favourite part of visiting the artist's home? I like the room which had all the Renaissance paintings in it. I'm pretty sure that's used for that. That's I don't know, maybe not. The Renaissance Corps or Rec Corps or Corps was a service branch of the British Army formed during the Second World War. So he went. So that was the corps he was in during the war. Because he left the army. And because he'd only been out of the army for a little while, like maybe a year or maybe less, 2 years, I don't know. But I realise 2 years isn't less than 1 year, but I don't know the exact dates. But my nan said he'd literally only been out of the army for a little while. And he was the first to get called back. So the first people to go were obviously those that were already in the army and the navy and the RAF and stuff. Second was the ones that had recently left the forces. And those that were physically able and, you know, to do it. And then they started enlisting young people and stuff. It was established on the 14th of January 1941 from infantry brigade Renaissance groups and was responsible for providing reconnaissance. Not Renaissance, reconnaissance. I was reading it through my left eye. It was like Renaissance with my left eye, but it is reconnaissance, isn't it? That's why I've had problems all these years. You know, when I was saying Renaissance, I genuinely thought it said Renaissance. Because when I read, I have to reread stuff because I can't. Because the letters do. Okay, when I use both my eyes, it's still not clear. Reconnaissance, Renaissance. See, I can see the nascence, so that's probably why I'm, you know, the the E and the C seemed to disappear. Anyway, the Corps was disbanded in August 1946. So it was responsible for providing reconnaissance for infantry divisions. I don't know what. I don't know. Genuinely. Oh, there's a picture. I've managed to click on a link. Scout. Okay, right. So here we go. Its units were tasked with gathering tactical information for infantry. Why are they called infantry? It's almost like they're calling them infants. What corps are you in? What corps of the army? What department? We're in the infantry division. Ooh, because we're only 3 years old. I don't know. Is it like the first division? The first is like the new people. Is that what the infantry is? I don't know. Anyway, they gather tactical information, scouting ahead and screening the flanks of these formations as they advanced. So they went ahead and just checked that it was safe, I guess. The corps was equipped with Bren carriers, armoured car, light tanks, jeeps and lorries. So they recruited from across the army, but its soldiers were expected to be adaptable and resourceful. They also had to pass the intelligence test before being trained as drivers, wireless operators, mechanics, or assault infantrymen. Most RC soldiers could perform at least 2 of these roles. Ironically, well, I don't know if it's really irony, but as far as I'm aware, my granddad never drove a car. Never drove. Like, outside of the army, that is, after the war and everything. Never drove. Maybe he just didn't like driving. Never had his own car. I mean, I don't know if this is completely true. He might have had a car, but he never had a car when my dad was growing up. He never had a car when I knew him. Yeah, I don't know why. So he would have been a driver, so he would have been able to drive. But maybe he did. Maybe he drove tanks. So maybe he didn't drive like normal cars, but it's still driving, isn't it? I'll tell you who couldn't get a job as a driver. The angry typer. That's who couldn't get a job as a driver. The RC recruitment from across the army, its soldiers were expected to be adaptable and okay, I've already read that bit. Blimey. Each reconnaissance unit bore the number of the name of infantry division it served with. Some were subsequently assigned to other divisions, but retained their original number or name. So, until June 1942, the Corps gave its units the infantry designation of battalions and companies. It then adopted the cavalry nomenclature of regiments and squadrons. It became part of the Royal Armoured Corps in 1944. During the Second World War, It served in the Middle East, East Africa, North Africa, Italy, Northwest Europe, and the Far East. Huh. So after the war, the reconnaissance units were no longer needed. The RC was disbanded in August 1946, and reconnaissance duties became solely the responsibility of the RAC's units. There's actually a national museum for this. Wow. There's something else that it came up with. He was held at a place called... I'm not going to go into details for this one because it's not pleasant, but it's just a factual thing. Let's have a look. So this is more information I actually found online, that I found with a deep search. And he went to one of the largest prisoner of war camps in Germany. He was kept there for I don't know how long, but quite a long time. And it was called Stalag IV-B. So he was there, and it was located in Germany. Yeah, so he was there, and I even found out what his prisoner of war number was. And that's actually, that's stored, I think it's in the museum, I think. It's down on his POW record. Yeah, prisonersofwarmuseum.com. It's literally on there. Wow. It doesn't say how long he was there for, but date of birth 1910, service number, military unit, British Army, Renaissance Corps, rank when captured, corporal, POW number, and the camp Stalag IV-B Mulberg Elb. What does corporal mean? Corporal. Ranks corporal. So, prisoner of war, there's 8,073 prisoner of war corporals. Was it at that one place? I don't know. No, it wasn't. So throughout the whole of prisoners of wars, the German prisoner of wars, there's 8,073 corporals. But what does a corporal mean? Where's that in the... Corporal. I suppose, is that just another word for core, part of the core? Core, prowl. I think prowl just might be like a member of. That might not what it means. I don't know. I mean, I wonder if he still stayed at the same rank when he went back into the army that he had been when he left. I don't know how it works. So corporal is a military rank. I thought it was a tank then for a minute. In use by the armed forces of many countries. Is also a police rank in some police services. The rank is usually the lowest ranking non-commissioned officer. Non-commissioned officer. In some militaries, the rank of corporal normally responds to commanding a section or squad of soldiers, ranging from 2 to 16 soldiers, and called corporal's guard. Okay, so you kind of, it'd be like being a team leader in a sense. You got your own team, and you answer to the sales manager, who would be, I suppose, the sergeant. I don't know. Used all over the world though. All gallery, corporal, no. I'd like to see where it was the rank. Corporal. Nope. I just want to see, like, where it goes from and where it goes to. Because I was in the Sea Cadets. I wasn't a corporal, don't worry. They wouldn't let me be in charge of a patch of grass. Never mind other people. Junior seaman. It's quite weird because at the time I didn't find that funny. But junior seaman was the first rank and the first badge on my shoulder, and it went up, and eventually ended up like being able seaman, which I think was one at the top. Yeah, so the rankings went up and up and up and up. I held the record for the person who took the longest time to get their first badge. And after I did get it, I got it taken away again for being naughty. So it was weird. Generally, people would get their junior seaman badge within a month or so, maybe 2 months of being in the Sea Cadets. It was basically just like a well done for attending. The most basic badge. And I'd been going for 2 years. And for some reason they did not want to congratulate me on my attendance. I think I'd have more chance of getting a badge if I stopped going. That's what I thought. When I did stop going, they started sending me badges and just thank you letters. Please stay away. So every Friday, I think it's Friday, every couple of weeks on a Friday, they would have a ceremony where they would give out these badges for people to put onto their, what's that thing on the shoulder? Cavalier, epitard, or whatever it's called. And you slide it onto the shoulder thing. So yeah, people was coming and getting them, and I was just waiting. Some people would look over at me. Is this the day? And it turned into a big joke, which had mentioned my name. And next, Jason, I think they used to call me Newland or Newland. Newland. At ease. Nothing for you today. And everyone would laugh. They'd be rolling around on the floor, tickling each other. So I vaguely remember the one Friday when I actually got given my badge, got awarded the junior seaman, I don't know what you want to call it. upgraded, first grade, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so I was awarded that. Promotion, maybe that's another word for it. So they mentioned my name, like they did always. People started laughing. And then he said, "Oh, what's this?" It's almost like he was doing a magic trick. "What's this I found inside this hat? I thought there was a rabbit in the hat. But no, it's not a rabbit. It's another junior seaman thing that you put on your shoulder." He didn't use those words because he knew the correct terminology, because he was in charge. Big man with a beard. He had a big beard. Yeah, he was in his 40s then, so he's going to be... Unless he wasn't. I mean, he could have been in his 30s, but I think he was in his 40s, which means he'd be in his 80s now. So like late 80s, I'd say, probably be now. He had a big beard. Yeah. I don't think that they disliked me, but I don't think they could kind of figure out what I was about, because I didn't fit into what I was supposed to be doing. But on this occasion, when he actually sort of said, he held up the badge, the whole place erupted. Like, people were like clapping, they were laughing as well. Just the idea that I actually did get awarded a badge eventually, and how long it took. And I had broken a record. Like, no one had ever taken that long to get the first badge before, because it's almost like it's what you get with the uniform, pretty much. And it felt quite nice. So I went up and saluted him, and he gave me the badge and said, "Well done." I said, "Bollocks to you." And they took it back. So yeah, no, I didn't, but I did get it taken off me again a few weeks later. So I got demoted. I don't even know what I did. If it was... I think it might be something really petty, like stealing one of the officers' cars. Just something little, you know? But anyway, that's as far as I got with the Sea Cadets. I got up to Junior Seaman, got it took off. Yeah, perhaps we should use the word seaman. I know that obviously women are allowed in the army now, but instead of seaman, 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 because that's what it meant, isn't it? It wasn't supposed to be just pronounced seaman. But come on. But there were some people who wanted to be in the Navy and stuff, and I didn't. The only thing that put me off being in the Navy, apart from the discipline and the people, is being at sea. And I'm sure you agree that it's, you know, I mean, I did ask one of my supervisors, you know, one of the sergeants, is there any way of being in the Navy but not being at sea? And they'd say, well, it's quite integral to the job. I said, but haven't you got any kind of land-based positions? He said, like what? I said, well, maybe lighthouse attendant. He said, that's a civilian job. I said, all right. You haven't got to be rude. Blimey. I didn't swear at you. And he said, I didn't. What do you mean? Civilian job is not swearing. I said, it is from where I'm standing. What does that even mean? It is from where you're standing. I said, I think you know what it means. I think you're very well aware of what it means, Mr. Man. See, I said that before the TV movie, or no, the movie Misery. It wasn't a TV movie, was it? It was a massive, huge movie hit. But I used to say Mr. Man long before Kathy Bates ever said it in Misery. And I'm sticking to that story. I mean, what is Kathy Bates gonna do? I just remember the movie then. Yeah, sorry, Kathy, I'll take it back. You said it first. I'm your biggest fan. Wow. That was a freaky movie, but it's very good. One of those movies that it's very, very unique. Very unique. I watched a movie the other day. I can't remember what it was called, but it's very good. It had a lot of I just don't remember what it was. Don't remember. No, don't remember. No, still don't remember. Do not remember at all what it was, what it was, what it was. Oh, by the way, it's my birthday tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Yeah. I know I've said this a few times. 56. 56. I just can't believe I'm going to be 56 tomorrow. I don't know, just still like, wow. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'm still going to work on my website today. I've still got up to the 18th of September to get it all built. But I'm just taking it steady, testing, retesting, and going to try and make it the best website that I possibly can. But in the meantime, my normal website that's online is still going to be there to the 18th. So if you want to download anything or, it's all going to be there. The only thing that won't be there is any updated recordings between now and the 18th. So any new recordings, I can't upload them to my website. And also I can't make any new journal entries. But that's fine. You can still download anything that's on there, and there's a lot of stuff on there. If you want to, that is. And then on the 18th, I will transfer my domain to be pointing my domain name to point to the new website. Yeah, I fell asleep while I was saying that. I literally the main website. I drifted off half sentence. Strange. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else really that happened yesterday. Nothing. No, I'm looking forward to the boxing on Saturday. So it's now what is it? Tuesday today. So yeah, it's my birthday tomorrow, Wednesday, and I'm really looking forward to the boxing on Saturday. It's the one I've been looking forward to for months. So it's Moses Atalma against Hergovich. Vinny's now becoming a bit animated, so I think he might want my attention. But you can't go now. It's only 50 minutes long. 50 minutes? That's not even in a whole hour. I know. It's rare that I do a shorter recording, but hopefully it's still boring enough. Boring. So that you drifted off. And that brings us to the end of this. I might do another one later on. I actually woke up thinking it was Friday today, and I got no idea why, because that makes no sense. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.